Okay, we are now live. So if you guys are on the page, please refresh your page. You might have to click play. You might have to click play. All right, let's go in the group. Please refresh your page. You might have to click perfect. Play. We're on. You might have to click play. So, Charles, you've done this before. So how do I view the comments? Because I want to make sure that if we're getting comments, I can see that. Should I be on the YouTube page?
Yeah, if you want to see the comments, they'll be, if you're doing it from the YouTube live, yeah, it'll be in the YouTube box on that inside of the where it says live. What does it say? Live events. Right. If you go on that screen, yeah, it should be over there.
Okay, great. All right. So welcome, everyone. Those who are watching, we are not going to wait too much longer. You know, guys, I love to start on time, and we have a lot of information to share with you.
Yeah, you got a little static. You got a little static coming in.
A little static. Am I better? Am I better?
Okay, getting there.
Okay. Okay, so we're really excited to get started. Am I sounding a little better there, Charles?
Okay, still need it's something still something coming through a little bit.
Should I try the headphones again? I don't want to mess anything up here.
Yeah, maybe the headphones will do it.
You think so? Okay, so I'll try it again. Try it again. Okay.
Perfect.
All right, awesome. So I'm really excited to be with Charles Harper tonight. He is the PLR expert, and I am not going to mess up his story time. I'm not going to take any of his shine because I can, right? But I'm going to tell you guys how I found out about him, all right? And you guys know that I have my background in network marketing and affiliate marketing, and I came across PLR a long time ago. I was that person that had PLR sitting on my computer doing nothing with it until one day I stumbled upon a YouTube training of Charles, and it was like I saw PLR in a different light. I started to use PLR as of that day. I watched every single training. I became his groupie on the low. So right now I'm having a groupie moment, and I'm really, really happy to have him on to talk to you guys and shed some light on this whole PLR world, okay? So Charles, here's my first question for you.
Yes.
Okay, so what I want to know is, when did you start PLR, or how did you get into PLR marketing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I started when I'd say, well, time-wise, let's say 2010, 2009, maybe. And the reason was I was getting into what they call offline marketing. I was going to do consulting. And quite honestly, you know, I didn't like to sell. And so I didn't want to do cold calling. I didn't want to be out there trying to, because I knew how to give the businesses the services. The problem was I didn't want to sell them. So it was easier for me to both create the content for the business, and it was also easy for me to create the content for the people who were selling to the business. And so I figured out that it was easier for me to kind of give those guys what they need, because they didn't want to write. They didn't want to create videos. They didn't want to create audios. I could do that stuff. So that was my introduction. And it was kind of like, that was my introduction even to internet marketing too.
Wow. So do you think that, would you say that you found success with PLR marketing? And if yes, how do you use PLR marketing to build your empire?
Well, you know what? I probably use it in so many different ways, some that are obvious and some that are not. First of all, let's say that as a person who's in business, right? Somebody who's got to get their message out there. You sort of have to be every place at all times. It's hard to do that. And, you know, you and I were just talking when we came on here. we all have our preferred platforms, right? We have the places where we prefer to be. And when I first got started, you had to be on Ezine articles, you had to be on Facebook, you had to be on YouTube. And so all of that stuff required that you have something written. And the only way you were going to be able to be in all those places and have something unique is you needed to be able to either write really fast and a lot and all day. Nobody could do that.
Right.
Or you had to be able to get something. And really, that was my discovery point to use PLR. So when I did a YouTube video, I would always have a PLR article in there because at that time, in order to get that video ranked, they weren't necessarily looking at whether or not the content you had in there was duplicate. I just got some PLR, stuck it in my YouTube video, and stuck it up there, so it would rank better. That was one thing. If I had a website article, I didn't necessarily want to write it, I would put the PLR in the website article. Now, I did have an advantage. My wife likes to edit. She likes doing that stuff. So she did a lot of rewriting because that's just what she liked to do. But even if she didn't do that stuff, I would have had, well, it probably would have been bad. I would have just stuck it in there anyway.
Right.
So, and so as a user, that was sort of how I did it. And then I still prefer to do video, right? That's my preference. And what I discovered at that point early on was that, again, just kind of feeling my way as an entrepreneur, people were buying content. They were buying videos, but they didn't necessarily want to do them. And so I would take the best of the PLR content and I would just turn it into a video. And people would say, well, man, this is really good, man. Will you bring us more of this? So I started creating PLR. So it wasn't just that I was using it. It was kind of like, okay, well, people want this stuff. They want to use it and they want me to create it. And then I started figuring out, okay, well, they probably would like it even better if I created it from scratch. So I started thinking, like, if I was a consultant, what would I want to have if I went to go out and talk to a business owner? And so I could just get in that person's head and I would just write this stuff,
Right.
turn it into a video. And and I was selling it to consultants all day, every day. I would just every week, every other week, I would create a new product to sell to consultants. Now, it was a really small niche market, but it was something I knew how to do. It was something they were interested in. It was something they were buying. And no, I couldn't figure out why they were buying it. I didn't care how they were buying it. They wanted it. So that's what I was applying at that point. But then, as I'm sure you've discovered, I like to train, right? So I like to be on webinars. And so I would get on the webinar, and so people were really wanting not just the written content, not just the video content. They wanted the live content, and they wanted presented dynamically, and they wanted feedback, right? So what makes a webinar is like well, they wanted the feedback. So that's what I did, right? So I would take some of that PLR content, and I didn't know everything about Facebook. I don't even know if I liked Facebook back then, right? I know if and I knew I didn't like some of the platforms. Pinterest, I still haven't figured out what Pinterest is. So if I needed to do something on Pinterest, I would snatch up something on Pinterest. And trust me, if you put me in front of a mic and you put me in front of a webcam and you put me on a webinar, I'm going to talk about it. But sometimes, though, I would have to study up on it. And quite honestly, there would be times when PLR would bring me up to speed. It would bring me up to that point. And so all those areas, right? And I could go on 10,000 ways in which I personally used it.
What I wanted to say, I wanted to interject at that moment and say, would you say that having PLR gives entrepreneurs like you and I, even entrepreneurs like consultants and bloggers and coaches, even entrepreneurs that have local business, tangible products, do you think that PLR gives them an advantage? And if you do, how?
Yeah, definitely the advantage to brick and mortar businesses, because the number one reason, and this doesn't get discussed a lot, is that to hold PLR inventory doesn't cost you anything,
Yeah.
right? And so the minute that I take PLR and I turn that into, and with a little bit of work, I turn that into an information product. If I had today, if I had today, if I had a dog training shop, I would either have to, in order for me to make money, I would have to sell my services as a dog trainer, or I would have to have people come in, or I'd have to have people sell my services. But I could also sell a course on dog training. I don't even have to bring them to my office and stay after hours. I can record that course one time, and then I can sell them that course. Now, if I'm not the guy that wants to be on camera, if I'm not the guy who knows how to do all this stuff, that's where I go get the PLR. I turn that into a dog training course, and that course is in my inventory. All somebody has to do is come to my website, my dog training website, and they say, "Oh, well, I don't want to pay this guy $200 for dogs, but I'll buy this $40 course and see if I can do it myself." And it's kind of like, that's when the kind of the light bulb went off, is because I figured out that either I can tell people how to do this, or I can do it myself. You can have something at all price points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when the kind of the light bulb went off. You and I were even talking about this beforehand, is that, in all of these niches, really the best person to kind of look at this as an example would be, ministers and preachers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, they've been doing information products even before there was an internet, even before there was PLR, even before there was any of this stuff. After they finished a message, sometimes even before they had a message, they would tell you about a cassette series they had, or this thing that you could buy $5 or $10 after they had already built the trust. And that's really the same process that, you're probably teaching, which
Mm-hmm.
is, information is kind of in the value that people want it, and
Right.
it serves anybody in any niche, regardless of what it is they selling. And
Right.
in
So
their case, they're not even selling anything, right? So
right. And see, what I'm trying to do here with my audience is I'm trying to get them to understand that not only does it help you with the saving of the time and the money and being able to produce information that people are actually looking for, but what it does is it serves as a way to attract your ideal client.
mhm.
Because if you use the dog training as an example again, right? This is someone who by his career, what he does on a day-to-day basis, right, is dog training. But he decides to make a course on dog training, put it out online where he's able to have more reach, right? Because once
Yep.
you're online, you're reaching more people. But what this does now is it builds up his community, it builds up his audience of students and people who are taking this course and learning from him around what he does. So even after they take the course, and you can tell me if you agree, even after they take the course, if they feel like they need help, he is the go-to person.
He's probably going to get the business, right?
He's
He's
going to
probably
get the
going to,
business.
right? I mean,
Right.
the smart money these days. I mean, I've even seen people do this. They'll take their information product, they'll put it on Groupon or Living Social, and then the person comes to their website. They say, "Well, I don't know if I want to learn how to train dogs. Let's see what this dude's about." They click the link, and they're, "Oh, well, this person is right in my neighborhood. Maybe I should just go see them." And I mean, as you said, it's a way to kind of open the door to eyeballs that you would never see otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And building the trust and the credibility all while you're doing this.
Yep.
And then just having the PLR as a foundation, I think that's what intrigues me the most. So here's my question, my next question, that
Hmm.
I think a lot of people are struggling with, or they're at this point where they don't know if they want to get into it, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why.
Yep.
So they're thinking about the downside, they're thinking about the saturation, they're thinking about other people that might be buying the same content as them. What would you say to that person that's telling you, well, you know what, Charles, I don't know if I want to get into using PLR to create my informational product, because what if someone else has the same content?
Right. Yeah. That's the most common um, objection, and really and truly, I mean, the fact that other people are buying it doesn't really affect the relationship that you have with whoever, excuse me, whoever it is you're selling to. And really and truly, what PLR is, and the way I look at it, is I call it raw material, right? So it's kind of like it's even if I have to sell it, when I create, I have to sell it as a finished product because there's just going to be some people they want to take it, they don't want to do anything to it, they want to get it up for sale, which is fine. But the real value in PLR is the raw material
Mm-hmm.
because number one, typically you're getting graphics, right? If somebody has to, if you got to go out and get graphics done, not only do you have to spend the time to supervise a person getting the graphics done, but you've also got to kind of come up with the designs. You're getting something that you can change the title, change a few pictures on it, and then it's all different. It's all rebranded. You're saving not only the time and the money. The other thing is that the connection is still the most valuable thing. All the PLR does is give you the leverage and it gives you something to sell. Number one problem, right? And I experienced this myself. You may have experienced it. You probably didn't. But the first thing I remember, the first time somebody came and had me speak, somebody came and had me train, and all the way down, my wife was telling me, "Well, what are you going to sell?" I said, come on now," and you know how we don't listen sometimes. So I got down there. I said, "I'm going to get this thing done. I'm going to have something to sell. They're going to buy my, whatever the thing is." Didn't buy it. The PLR gives you, if you get 3 or 4 extra hours that you do not have to put into making something for sale, when you get called to speak, when you get called to present at the last minute, because that's what happens. When you get out there, somebody's going to, well, would you come talk to us about whatever your thing is? We've been talking about dog training. Well, we need somebody to come talk to us about training our dogs. And so you got 2 days to get your presentation together and to get to the location and have your stuff. You grab the PLR, you tweak a few things, you slap something on it, and it's ready for sale. When you get done talking, you say, you can
Here
go
it
get
is.
this at mydogtrainer.com. And so it's about the leverage. And so it's not so much about, can I take it as it is and sell it? It's about using it as raw material to fit my brand, right? And
Right.
it's all about, it's raw material. It's really the bridge between me and my customer for my brand. So I would never use it as it is,
Right.
right? It's got to be sold as a finished product, but I'm always going to take it and make it into something for me.
And I think that's really important because see, when one of the things that make people worry about other people having the content is because in their head they're thinking this is going to substitute all my work. So I can just take this ebook, I can take these pictures, this sales page, I can set it up, add my PayPal link, and boom, I have an ebook that I can sell, and that's it. But they don't realize the power and what that ebook could have been. Now, I just want to give my people a quick story, and it's important for you guys to hear this, right? Because I had someone that I was talking to that used PLR, and one of the things that people struggle with when they are trying to create a course is, number one, they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they don't know how to come up with a topic. How am I going to break down the modules? How am I going to make it where people understand? I know me, when I did my first course, and a lot of you, if you are in the Media Maniac University, then you know that my first course, Build Your Brand Bootcamp, I gave everything. I literally confused people. Okay. Nobody got results. They were confused because I threw them everything I know. And someone that is now coming into business, they can't even comprehend all of that. So something that I would say PLR also helps with is it gives you a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It now helps you take your audience through a learning process. And you guys hear me talk about this all the time. If you are a business owner and you are using social media, whether you're using offline or you're using online marketing, you are selling what you know. If you sell a hair oil, how are you the person that I should buy this hair oil from?
Right.
Are you not a hair expert? Do you not have expertise? It's selling what you know, right? We are teachers. So when a teacher is starting their year, they have a curriculum. They are taking students from where they can understand, then up to the next level, then to the next level. So I hope you guys are hearing, because this is what PLR helps me do. And I'm pretty sure this is what PLR helps Charles do, which is produce products that our clients can actually consume, understand, implement, and see results. Mm-hmm. So now you're taking the confusion out the game. I'm listening. Go ahead, Charles.
No, I was going to say, and even at minimum, right? Let's just say that you did just want to just take it out of the box and you want to find some value in it. These days, people expect something. They expect a little something more. So let's say that you've got, let's go back to dog training. You've got your dog training course, and what we've got to do is we want people to kind of act. We want people to take action on our offer. So one of the ways we get people to take action on it is to say, well, you know what? Today only, though, what we're going to do is we're going to add in this guide, and it's only going to be available today, but and it's going to be a special, and it's called your dog yourself, and that your dog yourself is a PLR product you got, but it's a bonus, right? And that bonus is held up and it's only going to be available for a certain time. And what it does is create scarcity, creates urgency. And you can use PLR out of the box, right? Even let's say you didn't want to redo it. You say, Charles, I don't want to redo anything. PLR is valuable to stack on top of your offer so that you create scarcity and urgency and you get people to take action.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is, and I want to just bring it back to my terms, my audience terms, a lot of you guys have tangible products and have local businesses that you're trying to promote. And basically what he's saying is, if you sell, let's talk about the hair oil. If you sell oils for hair, right? And let's say you're doing a promotion, Christmas is coming up, you're doing a promotion and you really want to push sales. You can have a PLR ebook that's maybe giving 100 tips or 50 tips on hair loss, or as long as it's on the topic of hair, and you can use that PLR as your bonus to push people to give you the sales when you want it. All right. So I hope you guys are seeing the power that PLR can really, what you hold when you have PLR. All right. So let me ask you this. If you can give my entrepreneurs that are listening, if you can give them 3 tips, I want you to give them 3 of your top advice tips, that can help them with in terms of using PLR to create their first digital course.
Okay, yeah. Right off the bat is understanding the number one problem. The first thing I do is always to write down the top 10 questions that my prospect has, right? So if it's about Facebook, let's say that you're going to be teaching them about Facebook. Well, what are all the questions they have about Facebook? Because the PLR is going to be kind of the raw material, but you are still going to add on the problem solving. Because so my first tip is to make sure you understand the chief problem. Right? Because again, we're going to start with the problem. We're going to start with where people are going to be wanting to buy. So understanding the problem, that's really the first thing. The second thing is then kind of understanding where people are going to want to, where people want to consume the most. Because look, some audiences like audio. So if you have a podcast, right, or you have a radio show, that's how they consume it. That's how they like it. They will buy an audio course, and sometimes that doesn't need to have video. Doesn't need to have all that stuff. They're used to hearing you in audio. Easy product to put together, easy product to sell, easy product to turn into something that is audio. You go with the medium that people are buying. People are buying Kindle books, and people are buying paperback books. Go with the medium that people are already buying stuff in, that they're already liking you in, and you kind of drive that as opposed to trying to create everything. And the last thing is um, to kind of start with, and this is a little difficult, but it makes all the difference. When you sell a digital product, is the first digital product is going to be the most difficult one. The second one is easier for this reason. You put together a checklist, and the number one thing that, if you can get any one thing between now and your first digital product, and that is to get a checklist of things that you need to do, because the checklist is what keeps you and I from clicking around on Facebook and looking at cat videos and looking at all this other, as opposed to focusing on finishing a product, because a digital product will wear you down.
Yeah.
Like, you will get into the middle of it and you will, you know what, nobody wants to buy this. I'm not doing this. I'm tired of it and I don't feel like recording it and all of that. And it will drive you down in the middle of the process. The thing that will keep you focused, even if you're not a checklist person, that is the number one thing that helped me, right?
Okay.
When I got the checklist, it was kind of like, okay, you know what? It's Monday and this thing needs to launch by Friday. And I'm looking at this checklist. Why am I not doing this? Okay, I got to do this. I've already said I'm going to launch this thing on Friday. I have to get down on the checklist. What happens if you don't have a checklist? You fool yourself into thinking that, well, I have time to go and do all these other things as opposed to finish this digital product. And it's deceptive like that. So those three things, the checklist, and of all three, putting a checklist together of everything you got to do to launch a product is the most important thing. And before you know it, you'll be finishing products ahead of time.
Yes.
And getting affiliates
To
on
sell
board,
for you.
right? To getting affiliates on sale for you. Until that time, what happens is, if you find yourself trying to finish a digital product and you're coming right up against the deadline, and it's kind of like, oh, I barely got it out there, I barely got it launched, or sometimes after launch, that typically means is that there are a lot of other things that got prioritized over the product. And so the checklist, if that's, like, I mentioned it third, but it is really the number one thing.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because everybody that shows up to the webinar on Wednesday is getting a checklist. So I actually prepared a checklist for them, because I agree with you that if you don't know what you're doing when you're launching a course, and like what to do first, what to do next, it can be very hard. It can be very overwhelming. And I don't want to sell you guys this dream that anything in a growing business is going to be easy. However, what I will say is that, again, to piggyback off of what Charles said, having a checklist, keeping yourself focused, always seeing how you can delegate, which I am going to show you guys how you can do some of that too, delegate some of the things that you have to get done. And a lot of advice that I like to tell people, one of the main advice that I like to tell people is, create templates, simplify the things that you have to do. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're so focused on making everything perfect. Okay. We need the pictures to be perfect. Do you know that courses sell on sales pages without one photo? Without one photo? The photo is not what's making the sale. Guys, understand that what's making the sale is that you are providing a solution to someone's problem. So it doesn't matter if they see your face on the course. You can do a whole course and never show your face. I have some of my clients that are so afraid of showing their face that it's stopping them from wanting to do a course or do a webinar. You don't have to. As long as you are providing that solution, as long as you have that it factor, which I mentioned in the group earlier, that one thing that makes you different from the next person. And Charles is someone that taught me this in his trainings, and I am going to pass the information along to you guys on Wednesday of how you actually find that one thing that makes you different from the next person. Have that one extra I'm looking for the word formula. So if someone has a five tip formula. You come up with the 6-tip formula, and the next thing is you're different. You're
Yeah.
different because they had 5 and you had 6. It's really that simple, guys. It's really that simple. And I think what we do is we overwhelm ourselves with the process of putting together content, creating products that's going to make money for us. A lot of my people, Charles, do not have products yet. So they're solely relying on their everyday income in their career. And you know, it's kind of hard as a growing entrepreneur because you need that passive income coming in to keep the business going. You need that passive income coming in just to keep you going, because every time you make a sale, it's like, yes, every time you hear PayPal do da-da-da, you're like, oh yes, I'm gonna keep going. It's even motivation for yourself to want to have the sales coming in on a regular basis. And how can you do that if all you sell is your time? There's not that much time in the world.
No, and even if you could sell all your time, you don't want to. I would even encourage, folks. And again, I mean, if I have a secret, it's that my wife works with me, and so not everybody's gonna have wife. And you know what? I have two millennials that live at home with me. I have an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old. Now they don't have jobs, but they work, and so I know sometimes little Johnny and little Susie, they're at home. Maybe they haven't been able to find a job. Again, I'm not trying to get into child labor or anything like that. I'm not telling anybody how to run their family. I'm saying a kid can learn how to do Photoshop and they can start really making money, more money they can ever make in a minimum wage job themselves. And so if you got kids at home, put in the work. If your significant other doesn't understand this, now why you sit down at that computer all the time, show them what you're doing, because that really does increase like your productivity. Like what Niala was saying, you start talking about outsourcing. Sometimes I mean I'm not paying anybody else to do something that I can teach my 18-year-old how to do. She now knows how to do Photoshop. And I'm glad I did that. Now, did she want to do it? No, but she's now glad she knows how to do it. So that's my other piece of encouragement too.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so guys, we are coming to the end, but I want Charles to let you guys know how you can stay in contact with him, how you can get on some of his trainings. And he takes the PLR world from the offline sense, whereas I take the PLR world from the online sense. So we are really excited to bring a lot of the things that we are both doing with PLR to you guys. So yeah, how can they stay in contact with you?
Yep, real simple. The PLRshow.com, PLRshow.com. There's a place to put your name and email address in there, and then you'll hear about all the training and all of and I do interviews with other people who create PLR and other stuff like that. So
yes, and you actually have the summit coming
that's
up
right.
in
There's a
February.
summit coming up in February, and
PLR summit, yes.
We'll be speaking.
And I'll be speaking.
Right, that's right.
So yes, we have a lot of stuff coming to you guys with this. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Charles, for being with me. I really appreciate this. Ladies, yes, ladies, meet me in the group in about 10 minutes. I'm going to do a quick live stream so I can answer any of you all's questions. And Charles, you are more than welcome to join us.
Right on. I'll definitely do that.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.